Hello there, amazing viewers and subscribers, and welcome to a brand new Doctor Who topic video for today. So this video is my thoughts on the Jodie Whittaker era of Doctor Who. So 2022 brings us the era to an end for the 13th Doctor. So now we're going into the era of the 14th Doctor and the era of the 15th Doctors. So, talking about the whole era for the 13th Doctor, how do I personally feel about this era? And it's kind of a bit of a mixed bag, you know. So I'm going to talk about Series 11, 12 and 13. And then I'm going to talk about my favourite episodes from the 13th Doctor's era. And then, of course, I'm going to talk about the whole general thoughts on the 13th Doctor's era as a whole, with all of them, including my favourite episodes. So, let's dive in. Series 11, it does start off not as great as other series have been from Modern Who. Series 11, okay, it's definitely a weak kind of series, but it still has some good episodes, like The Woman Who Fell to Earth. You know, we have Rosa, we've got Kablam, we've got The Witchfinders, where the rest of the series is very much of an average. Depends how you look at it. I'm going to say it's got an average, yeah, it's got some good stuff in there, but it's got some really, really bad stuff, like Spike the Acronyms in the UK, the terrible spider episode, or the Pating episode, or that final episode, the Battle of, Revaduda, whatever it is called, Revaduda. I'm just going to call it the Battle of Revaduda, because I don't really care for the episode. It's not as great. The villains, I have to say, from each episode, from my expectations, yeah, they're not as great as I think they could be. I mean, this series did try to do something new with no recurring villains, which is something Doctor Who has not really done since Classic Who, because in every now and again, like say in some seasons like season 13, we haven't got no recurring villains, we've just got some brand new villains, where for other seasons, you know, we've got some recurring villains. And for this one, it's not as good. I think if this was going to fall an average with Classic Who, yeah, it wasn't done as brilliant. Say Series 11 and Series 13, Season 13. Season 13 is Tom Baker's second season, and that is absolutely whopping brilliantly. Where for this season, it's not as great. It could have been so much better. So much better. But unfortunately, yeah, it's not as great as it could be. So I'm going to talk about Series 11 as a whole for me. So talking about all of the episodes from Series 11, how do I find Series 11? Well, Series 11, I'm going to rate it as a 4.5 out of 10. It's not a brilliant series, but it does give us some stuff to do with the 13th Doctor, apart from her just waving with the sonic screwdriver about being very, very moronish. Yes, when you watch her in, you know, The Woman Who Fell to Earth, she's absolutely brilliant. She's on her own. I do see aspects of her Doctor, but then when you get to like the Ghost Monument, and then of course the Rosa was brilliant. Rosa was absolutely brilliant. Then you get to the Spider at the Arcades. That's when the 13th Doctor really does kind of dip for me, because she does try to echo bits of the 10th and 11th Doctors in her Doctor, where her Doctor doesn't feel like very doctorish for me. It just feels like, oh, okay, we got bits of the 10th Doctor in this incarnation. Oh, a bit of the 11th Doctor with the fairs and everything else. But the rest of it doesn't really feel much like her Doctor for me. I don't really feel Jodie is much of a Doctor until Series 12. For Series 11, it just kind of bits. She feels like the Doctor from the start, when you kind of see her building up the machine to try and track down her TARDIS and then whap them in space. I have to say, but I really think this series could have been so much better, say, with a recurring villain. Say if we had somebody from Classic Who that's not been seen for a long time. Say, like, the Krynoids. I really think the Krynoids could have been better in this series. Instead of having Tim Shaw, have the Krynoids, the alien space plants that can actually man-eat you. Yeah, have them back. Series 12, this series was great. So instead of like having Series 12 with no recurring villains, this series we have so many recurring villains. We have the Master, we've got Juju, we've got the Cybermen, and of course I return for a fellow companion, aka Captain Jack Harkness. So Series 12, how do I feel about it? Yeah, this one, well, I said the last one was a 4.5. This one is definitely a 8.5 for ratings for me. I really do enjoy Series 12. I like the fact we have the Master back. He's more insane than Missy was, where Missy kind of had some good redemptions. This Master feels much like John Sims' incarnation, and even a lot more like Roger Delgado and Anthony Ainley's Masters just rolled into one. And he's insane. He's brilliant. We go and find out he's literally destroyed Gallifrey. He's left Gallifrey in ruins. He's kept all the bodies so he can convert them into Cybermen, so we get the Cyber Masters. I really do love this series. I mean, every episode I just physically enjoy. Like Spy 4, you know, you got Nicola Tilsley, Night of Terror. You know, we have Fugitive of Didadoo. Then, of course, we have Associate of the Summon. And of even that fantastic haunting episodes, The Haunting of Philiduda. Just call it that, Philiduda. And then, of course, we go to The Timeless Children, which is an okay episode, but not the greatest episode. It is definitely one of the weak episodes from Series 12. I have to admit, this series is just absolutely spot on. Really, really well. And I've just physically really enjoyed these. I really do. I have to admit, every episode is kind of good. We kind of do have some naff ones, like looking at, can you hear me or whatever. The one with the finger guy where his fingers comes off and goes down people's log holes. You know, we have that stupid episode, Orphan 55. You got Praxius. You got The Timeless Children, which are bad, but not as bad as the stories that we had in Series 11. But as I said, we did have some recurring villains. We got the Master, we got Cybermen, we see a whole new Cyberman, aka Ashhead, who is absolutely brilliant. We've got a whole new design of the Cybermen, which I do kind of feel classic too, because these Cybermen, yeah, they kind of do have like some bodies from the Moffat ones, but when you look at the headpiece, I really do kind of get the Earthshock / invasion type Cyberman in this one with the Cyber Carrier. Plus, we do see the return of the kind of design from the parallel universe Cybermen that we see in the RTD and a bit of the Moffat era as well, which kind of really are good callbacks too, and I do love them. I'm going to talk about the kind of two-part New Year's Day specials. Now, I do class these as a two-part because even though one was aired in 2019 and one aired in 2021, yeah, I'm going to actually say Resolution and Revolution of the Daleks. So, Resolution, we kind of see a Dalek, a Reconnaissance Dalek, which we had no idea that these were the very first Daleks to invade Earth. I'm going to say this story is absolutely spot on amazing. I do like it because we have the Reconnaissance Dalek taking over human bodies after it gets put back together by ultraviolet light. And it takes over this woman, I can't remember her name, it's been a while since I watched Revolution, and it rebuilds its a brand new Dalek casing, aka the Junkyard Dalek, and the 13th Doctor does basically use parts of the microwave to just like melt the casing, but it takes over Ryan's dad. And I do kind of fling it where really the Doctor just leaves the Dalek casing just there in the middle of the government central. And then, of course, you know, we all know what happens. It gets taken to the kind of Donald Trump kind of person, and he kind of creates his own defense drones from the design, but using the actual, like, Leo, he actually finds a way to clone the actual mutant that was inside the Dalek. And, of course, he creates Dalek mutants and feeds humans to him. Captain Jack's back because, in the meanwhile, catching up with Series 12, the Doctor's put into prison at the end of the series. So, the Doctor's in a Jeju prison. And Captain Jack comes along, breaks out using a breakout ball. And they escape prison, goes to the Doctor's TARDIS, go to find the fam, find that there's a whole bunch of clone Daleks, and then of course the Doctor being the Doctor is like, you know what, I'm going to try and call another race of Daleks, to call the main Daleks to come and take care of these Daleks, Robertson's Daleks, and we do kind of a bit of a Dalek civil war. And even though the Doctor just basically kill a TARDIS, one that she left lying around, yeah, kind of a bit harsh for the Doctor. I mean, the TARDIS is a living person. She literally just activated it self-destruct and sent itself into the time vortex with all these Daleks inside. Yeah, very hard move. But then, of course, we'd say goodbye to 2 out of the 3 companions from the 13th Doctor's first 2 series. We say goodbye to Graham and Ryan, which really, I felt, yeah, you know what, we needed them gone after Series 11, because in Series 11, we kind of had their story out with them coming over with Grace's death and they're freezing Tim Shaw, and he starts to call Graham Grandad. I really think they should have left at the end of Resolution. But the fact that we had them for literally another 11 episodes, and I do kind of feel like, yeah, you know what, this is the time they leave. This is the time I wanted them to go. It's brilliant that we kind of got them. Yaz stayed. I do like Yaz. She's actually become one of my favourite companions to the Doctor. I have to admit, yeah, I do kind of feel Yaz is one of my favourite companions out of the modern era. Out of all of the companions, I'm going to do a whole new video on that one. But Yaz has really grown on me quite a lot, and that is with the help of Series 13 as well. So Series 13, the whole thing with the Flux ripping the universe apart, and you got Starving, the big giant alien doggy creature thing. And then, of course, we have Swarm and his sister SL. I finally got the name right, by the way, SL. We finally get Swarm, we've got SL, we've got the Passenger. We do meet Tectalum, the Gallifreyan person that found the Doctor and experimented to give the Time Lords regeneration power. We get the Division. We find out that the Weeping Angels were part of the Division at one point, and they do go and capture the Doctor and turn the Doctor into a Weeping Angel to get to Tectalum. We do have the Grand Servant, who is a brilliant villain. We end up meeting Fashta. We meet Bella, who's pregnant with Fashta's baby. We all also meet quite a few more friends to Doctor. We have to return up with Unit and Kate Stewart, and of course we hear the Brigadier. The whole plot of the Flux is really, really brilliant. I absolutely love the Flux. I love this series a lot more than series 11 and 12. This is my favourite Jodie Whittaker series. I'd like Dan. We get an introduction to Dan, played by John Bishop. He's literally one of the best companions, I think, for the 13th Doctor series. I mean, yeah, okay, he gets to walk and beats a Santaran at the back of the neck and making the Santaran get knocked out. I do like the way the Doctor goes, what you got in your hand? It's a wok. Why you got a wok? You know, to bash him on the head with. Again, we have the return of some classic villains, like the return of the Santarans, since the last physically return in the Russell T Davies era phase 1, with them returning in the Santaran, Shadow and Poisonous Sky. And then, of course, Moffat kind of turned them all into a bit of a joke, and now they're back, they're in the villainous ways. And they're in their outfits that really cool connections to Classic Who. We also have that connection again when the Santaran commander mentions Commander Lynx from the Time Warrior, which is their favourite story. So we do get so many callbacks to Classic Who in this series as well, like with the Santarans. The Weeping Angels, I have to admit, are absolutely brilliant. I do like the Weeping Angels. They are one of my favourite villains out of the Jodie Whittaker era. And the Matt Smith era, because out of the Whittaker, Smith and Tennant eras, the Weeping Angels have become one of my favourite villains for Doctor Who. I have to admit, I have grown quite a lot to the Weeping Angels. I really thought the Weeping Angels were really used so much in the Matt Smith era. I'm really glad that we never saw them again after the Angels Take Manhattan. But to have them back in this series was absolutely brilliant, because I had a massive part to play, and to turn the Doctor into a Weeping Angel, stroke on genius, because that was just absolutely done brilliantly, the way the Doctor's just there, and you just see her transforming into a Weeping Angel. It's just absolutely brilliant stuff. The Grand Servant, I really think he was wasted, same with Swarm and SL. I really think these were wasted villains with everything going else in the Flux, like with Tectalum and a lot. I kind of wanted them to stay a bit longer. I kind of want more story with them. Hopefully, Russell T Davies does bring back the Grand Servant after the Doctor basically made them stuck on an asteroid. Talking about the specials, we do have the return of Daleks and Simon, but one of my favourite specials, I have to admit, is of course Legend of the Sea Devils, because we finally have the return of the Sea Devils. I absolutely love the Sea Devils. They're one of my favourite villains out of the whole lot of Classic Who. I love them in Doctor Who and the Sea Devils. They are just an absolutely brilliant, and it really just makes Season 9 for John Pertwee's Doctor really good for me, because I don't really care for Season 9. I really think Season 9 is John Pertwee's weak series as the Doctor, where we've got, even though just have the Sea Devils in, and I kind of like the way how they looked exactly the same, where they kind of did something different in their design in 1984, and I just never really... Sorry, I've not been well for the last couple of days. Jodie's era, I do actually enjoy it. But then when you get to like Power of the Doctor, and you got the Master dressing up as Rasputin, you got that song as Rasputin. I really do love that song. I really like the Master dances, because I do kind of get feelings to John Sims' Master. Plus we have the Daleks and Simon working with the Master to capture the Doctor. The Master basically making the Doctor have force-on regenerations. But then I kind of love it, the way the Doctor's in this kind of never sphere. And of course we have David Bradley back. We have Peter Davison, Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy, and of course Paul McGann. We have them doctors back for this. And I like the way the 8th Doctor goes, why you... Oh, I don't do robes. There's always one. I am a manifestation of ourselves. I'm allowed to wear what I like. I really like Paul McGann's Doctor. When that was the one Doctor I literally jumped out of the seat from. Because I kind of knew that from the images. We kind of had David Bradley and Colin Baker, Sylvester McCoy coming back. I never really thought we had Peter Davison coming back because he also did return back in 2007. But we had Peter Davison back. And then when Paul McGann just literally appeared from changing from, I believe, from Peter Davison, I was like, oh, it's Paul McGann! I wanted more screen time with the 8th Doctor and having the felicitation of the Doctor when you see Paul McGann's back. It's really makes me more from the 8th Doctor, which is why I'm loving Big Finish a lot more, because I've dived into more of the 8th Doctor adventures and I'm really enjoying the 8th Doctor a lot more. I really don't want him. But when you kind of have the Doctor turning back from the Master and the Master going back to his body and the Doctor's fixing all the Master's problems, yeah, I have to admit, that was really good stuff. I love the fact when the Master's there throwing on all these classic outfits. The Doctor, you got the 7th Doctor's question mark jumper, the 12th Doctor's kind of shirt, the 10th Doctor's tie. I really think we got like Troughton trousers, the 2nd Doctor trousers thrown into this outfit as well, with Matt Smith boots and of course, you know, Tom Baker's scarf and the stick of celery. I really love that. And of course we have the 2nd Doctor's flute as well, the return of the recorder. I absolutely love the way the Master's that. But when you got Jodie regenerating back into, well, degenerating back into herself, and she goes, what am I wearing? Yeah, the Master's kind of just threw all your main costumes on. I really love that. And then the fact we have Tegan and Ace as return as well. So really, in this whole era for Jodie Whittaker, we had the return of Ian Chesterton, we had the return of Mel, we had the return of Ace, we had the return of Tegan, we had the return of Joe Grant, and of course, the return of Captain Jack Harkness as well. So this era would kind of have so many companions return, which are just genuinely fantastic. And the fact is, though, I really enjoy Jodie Whittaker's last lines as well. They're so much better than the 10th Doctor's, where the 10th Doctor just goes, I don't want to go. Jodie's Doctor, she's like, oh, no, I want more time. But then she accepts it and goes, right then, Doctor, whoever you are, you're going to have fun. And the way she regenerates into the 14th Doctor, a.k.a. the 10th Doctor's actor, David Tennant's back. And he's a whole new incarnation. I'm really looking forward to seeing what the 14th Doctor's going to be like, because after having the whole lovey-dovey stuff with Rose, I don't want to see that return, because since then we had Matt Smith, we had Capaldi and Whittaker, with all them Doctors going through the stuff they went through, like with the 11th Doctor, like through the cracks in the universe and the Pandorica and his own death. With Capaldi, you know, he went through so much. And then, of course, Whittaker going through so much with the Timeless Children. I just kind of want the 14th Doctor to be so much different to his 10th incarnation, which I'm really looking forward to seeing what he's going to be like. So, talking about the episodes I physically enjoyed from Jodie Whittaker's run, we have The Woman Who Fell to Earth, we got Rosa, we got Kablam, there's The Witchfinders, I really enjoy in 5th place, there's Resolution, Nicola Tilsley's Night of Terror, I really love that one. Then, of course, we go to Associate of the Summon, Revolution of the Daleks, we have War of the Santarans, Village of the Angels, and then, of course, the last 3 special, which is Eve of the Daleks, Legend of the Sea Devils, and, of course, The Power of the Doctor. That is my 13 favourite episodes out of the Jodie Whittaker era. So, if I was going to say, so far from Modern Who, how do I rate the Whittaker era? Well, I'm going to say, out of the 5 Doctors we had, with Eccleston, Tennant, Smith, Capaldi and Whittaker, she's actually in 4th place, because number 1, I'm going to say, my favourite era for the modern era is, of course, the Capaldi era. My 2nd favourite era is, of course, the Matt Smith era. My 3rd favourite era is the Christopher Eccleston era. Now, Jodie Whittaker's era has become my 4th favourite era of this, out of the modern era. And then, of course, we have the 10th Doctor era, my least favourite era for Modern Who, where even though the 14th Doctor is only in for 3 specials, his era might become, you know, tied with the Eccleston's era, so we just do not know. So thank you for watching this video. Please do like, subscribe and share, and let me know how do you rate and what do you think of the Jodie Whittaker era. Thank you for watching, and have a cracking day, you amazing lot.